I thought it would be interesting to share with you a little bit of insight into what it's like having absolute provable lies written about you with malice in their heart, with the express intent of damaging your career, damaging your ability to earn money, damaging your reputation amongst your peers. And a lot of people ask me, like, dude, how do you not get more mad about this kind of thing? It's because these people are transparent losers. They are worthless, in my opinion. They don't have the courage to stand behind their writing, as I will show you in private DMs that I'm about to share with you with a reporter that in public will call me everything under the sun with obviously the attempt or the intent to damage my career, but in private is such a blithering coward. It may shock you. I'm going to ask that you share this video, that you remember to like it if you do like it, because I want other people to understand how these people operate. It's not complex, but I think I have a pretty good timeline and examples to show you exactly how they work. Part of the reason a lot of people don't understand why do these people just print verifiable lies about you? Because it's not about being correct. It's about damaging you. It's about silencing you. These are things that these writers will say are just gaslighting, and that you've got to believe me about this person. They're actually far right type personality. The quartering is, right wing. I'm not. I don't think I've expressed any political opinions that would put me on any far side of this spectrum, but it doesn't stop these people from writing. You all know me as somebody who stands up for themselves. That if somebody is going to print lies about me, no matter how big or small their reach is online, I'm going to defend myself. You all know I will do that in court. You all know that when websites like The Escapist print liable statements about me, that I will bring down the wrath every single time. Because when you knowingly print lies about somebody, it's not just sad, but it's potentially damaging to their career. That is what their intent is. If you search my name on Google or on Twitter, you'll see all sorts of things calling me, phobic this or far right or alt right or whatever the case may be, with no evidence. But see, just because they say it is evidence enough for them. And they themselves have literally nothing going for them in their lives. That is why I don't care. That is why every single time one of these disingenuous hacks decides to write some stink piece on me, I'm not hurt by it. But the thing is, there are a lot of people out there who these articles do damage because they get written, they get unchecked. And then what happens in the example of Trade Coffee, for example, people sent them articles that were full of lies, and Trade Coffee's like, whoa, well, I've heard of this website, and they said this about him. It must be true. And they pull their sponsorships. They write these things because they are still an effective tool to silence people for differing opinions. They write these pieces because they themselves are sad. They themselves are failures at most things in life. I have yet to see one of these garbage stink pieces written by somebody who is financially stable, by somebody who has put anything out into this earth that has done any bit of good. It's always the same dregs, the bottom feeders, the ones that can't get any attention except for when they lie. And they have made peace with the only attention that they'll get is negative attention. So the cycle begins. They write something about somebody that's provably false, and if they stand up for themselves like I always do, they then try to say they are the victim, which I will show you this in action as I interacted with a reporter who has called me all sorts of false things publicly. Privately, they have told others they are, quote, afraid of me. They are afraid to talk to me. Why do you think that would be? I've extended private olive branches to these people that write things about me, and they are so cowardly that they won't even talk to me in private. I have never been the type of person that would just release private conversations for an own. This particular reporter, however, released my private statements, and so turnabout is fair play. And you're about to see some of the hypocrisy that I'm talking about. I've often talked about the metaphor or this tale of crabs in a bucket, and some of you have heard this before. And that's why these people don't bother me. The story goes something along the lines of fishermen who will get a bunch of crabs out of the pots and they leave them in buckets with no lids. Somebody walks by and says, why are there no lids on these buckets? They don't need them because the crabs in the bottom of the bucket are always pulling down the other crabs that are trying to get out. And that is a perfect metaphor for these people. They are crabs in a bucket. They are unsuccessful. They are deeply unhappy. And when they see others making headway, others doing what they wish they could do, they pull them down. They are so desperate to do so, they will write lies. It doesn't matter to these people because they are so far gone the path of understanding morality. They will take the attention at all costs. We're going to take a look at one particular journalist whom I will protect their identity because unlike them, I have some decency. Now, if people figure out who it is and critique them, that's fine. But I have always been very public about saying, look, if I'm rebutting a article or a video or something and the person is, and you're angry about it and you want to tell them so, that's fine. I'm not your dad. But just know that if you go over the line, if you cross the line, you're talking about doxing, you're talking about emailing bad things, you're doing bad stuff, you're not doing any favors for me. You want to tell them that you think they're a poo-poo head? That's fine. But I've always said, don't cross the line because that's what they want. They want to use that against me. They want to say bad things. They want to stick their hand in the bee's nest and not get stung. Well, that's not how I operate. I'm not afraid of these people. I don't have a day job for them to call. They have no leverage over me. So I will always try to do my best to speak the truth. So let's get into these messages, and I'll show you just how pathetic these people are. By the way, this particular reporter has printed lies about my employees, lies about my friends, and I won't even bring that up because I don't need to, because this is so perfect. Let's get into it. So this particular journalist has written for several sites and all of that. My interactions with them have been overwhelmingly negative, simply because my point is I would never have known of you or heard of you if you had not lied about me or my friends or my employees. Back in December, this person wrote an article that referred to me as, I don't know, right-winger or GG supporter, just a bunch of stuff that, is like buzzwords for negative. So I reply back to them and said, as I'm sure you know, I will be making a video response to your article. Would you care to respond to a few questions I have so I can present your side in your own words? Imagine that. Reaching out before I did the work. Time passes and I reply, imagine my shock, you're a coward. You lied about me being right-wing. You lied about Sean, who was my employee, but you won't respond. This article that this person wrote led a former GOG.com community manager to have to quit their job working for me because they were calling him all sorts of horrible things. People were calling his parents at home. People were calling and bugging his girlfriend. These are all things that were shared with me behind the scenes over a tweet he made making fun of games journalism. Okay? If you remember, this article says, 2 months after GOG community manager Sean Halliday tweeted a joke about belittling a hashtag, which he didn't, it was a mistake. Halliday revealed he was fired by the company according to a new profile from Eurogamer. However, Eurogamer report fails to mention that Halliday is working with Jeremy, the quartering Hambly. And by the way, these people always use your full name because they want it to come up when people search your name. This is an intimidation tactic. A right-wing YouTuber. Interesting. They then go on to say, Hambly's name is notorious. The YouTuber received a lifetime ban from Magic after reportedly harassing a cosplayer. That is incorrect. That is not what I was banned for. Not one bit. There is not one shred of evidence. The evidence that Wizards of the Coast gave me were repeated jokes at other commentators' expenses, Pepe memes, and being an all-around jerk, which I was at the time. Did that warrant a lifetime banning? No, I don't think so, but it absolutely was not for that. Hambly creates YouTube videos complaining about SJW rage, and incels did nothing wrong, and blah, 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 blah. This is about talking bad about me. Daily Dot was able to gain access, by the way, it is an open Discord, to the Exclusively Games Discord, where Halliday serves as a moderator, as Linko64. And he did the horrible thing of saying, in one post, Discord Halliday sympathized with users complaining about the Eurogamer story and SJWs, although he stressed that users are not allowed to condemn neither the far right or SJWs. Let's keep the SJW bits and pieces away from here now, Halliday wrote. I understand the frustrations, but let's stick to the core values we're aiming here. Wow. My community manager did their job and kept politics. By the way, he didn't let them just rail on this person. He said this project is about gaming specifically. Okay, so take that to the other Discords if that's what you want to do. All right. Of course, unending pressure from urinalists. He used a Postal 2 meme, by the way. It was troubling. A tweet was troubling. And you can see, after this article was published, Halliday returned the Daily Dot request for comment over Twitter DMs and defended his past writing. When asked to speak on the record about his association with Hambly, he expressed frustration. You post 2 articles from my past, frame me as GG, and you are ignoring a huge volume of post interactions that suggest otherwise. Halliday said, I feel this is starting to get a bit silly, that 2 posts out of hundreds are being used to frame me as something I'm not. Wow. It's almost as though we can relate on that. Eurogamer said Halliday turned down an offer with Exclusively Games. Hambly confirmed Saturday that Halliday had quit working with him. Very sad news. Right, because people were harassing him. People were harassing him. All right? Fast forward to May 23rd. I have another run-in with a journalist. This time they reached out to me by saying, in all seriousness, why do your followers constantly send stuff like this over to me? My notifications are always a hot mess whenever these things start, and it's really dumb. By the record, I had not interacted with this person. This person put my name in their mouth, associated with lies. People brought it up. What's wrong with that? So we're going to say, first of all, I'm not responsible for individuals. Second of all, if you didn't lie about me, we would never have spoken. I have repeatedly told people not to contact you or anyone else. They reply, these people wouldn't be flocking to mob me and others if you never quote tweeted them directly. You can track my notifications by searching my @ to prove that. On some level, you can and should accept responsibility for your contribution to this problem. It's like building a tunnel with no lights and then throwing your hands up in the air when people inevitably crash. No, it's actually nothing like that, reporter. It's 100% nothing like that. Again, had you not lied, we would not be speaking. I go on to say it. Again, if you had not lied, calling me far right or transphobic, none of this happens. Make right by that, and I will happily retweet and say we're good. You know dang well I'm not those things. Clear that up, and you'll never hear from me again. This is me saying, look, you're asking me to, quote, call off the troops. I can't tell them what to do, but I can signal boost you doing the correct thing. Will all of them forgive you for that? No, probably not. But some of them will. To which they replied, and if I don't, you'll only install the lights if I lie about you? To which I replied, this is not a threat. I'm only saying that had you not have lied, I would never have covered it. If you've seen my video responses to these things, I don't care if people say mean things. I care when they lie. They reply, it is, though. You're basically saying that you won't call off your followers, which multiple people hold you accountable for. By the way, I'm only accountable to the great spaghetti monster in the sky and my wife, not some rando on the internet. Perhaps in third place, I would say I'm responsible. I answer to my viewers. That's it. Not some rando blue check marks who get paid $25 an article and call themselves a real journalist. Which, regardless of whether you hold yourself accountable or not, unless I outright lie as a reporter, I can read between the lines. That's what I do for a living. No, you lie for a living. And this doesn't paint you in a very nice light. So now they are threatening me. I'm not sorry for what I wrote. I asked you to hold yourself accountable because everyone that criticizes you, including me, does not use their following in a way that leads to mobbings, threatening text messages, emails, or doxing threats. Yet whenever you post about us, that happens. It doesn't take a genius to realize what's going on. I'm asking you to hold yourself to the same level of basic decency that your critics are. Well, what level of basic decency are you at where you will openly lie? You will openly write articles that you know will lead to people getting fired, that you will openly share that information that you know is false, but now you're in my DMs and hiding, trying to moralize? I don't think so. To which I reply, I didn't tell my followers to do anything. I hate that term. Viewers. I don't control them. Again, none of this would even know who you are if you didn't lie about me. That's a cowardly cop-out, and we both know it. To which I reply, do you think I'm alt-right? Do you think I'm transphobic? I didn't ask if you were sorry. I asked if you truly believed I was these things. To which they replied, this is sad. I think I'm done. I'll keep an eye out for the inevitable YouTube video. And then they blocked me. This is how these folks operate. In private, they won't say that they believe these things, but they'll write it publicly. Why do you think that that is? I asked the same question repeatedly. And they dodged every single time. Yet publicly, they'll write this stuff about me in multiple articles. They'll contribute to conversations that include terminology that would negatively affect my earning potential, my potential for sponsors, my potential for collaborators, because there are people in the commentator space that have this opinion of me based on things that they've read. And I don't blame them for not taking the time to find out better, to find out the truth. What's in it for them to dig past all this stuff? So what we have here is a reporter who openly lies, who doesn't have the same courtesy to correct their lies, but is in my DMs asking me to call the dogs off because they're getting too much criticism. We have a journalist who is moralizing, telling me I'm responsible for everything, that I should just do the right thing, even though they clearly have no idea what that even is. This is the story of every games level journalist that I've ever experienced running into like this. This is not all journalists. This is not even all games journalists. But wow, there are a ton of cowards out there. I hope you enjoyed this little tale, and we'll talk to you again real soon.